movements start getting slower?
Well, that I don't know, because I haven't been around. I mean, you know, I was not always around, but after the original South American tour, it changed a lot. And first of all, the film that we have was done in '43, was
43,
it? Yes. And I wasn't there at all. And I was probably in Ballet Theatre on tour somewhere. Then after that, I worked with De Cueva's company, where we did Barocco from, I think Mr. Balanchine came and set it in 1949.
That's right. It was one of the Balanchine works known in Europe.
Known in Europe,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
He came and did Sonnambula, and he did Concerto Barocco. And since he hadn't used Andrei Glevsky, was in the company at that point, he did the Paritoire, Minkus Paritoire, from Paquita.
Now, what about the Ballet Russe? You were in Ballet Russe 1945.
That was not as slow as they do it today.
But do you feel that it was beginning to change at that point?
I really don't remember.
Right.
I really don't remember that.
I'm interested that Bach was quite an unusual composer at that time to be used for choreography. And I believe that there were styles of jazzed up Bach at that time that Balanchine might have been interested in. So it wasn't simply a recording, but a particular style of Bach.
No, certainly. But as it was done in the 40s, in the early 40s, actually. And at that time, there was a marvelous jazz pianist called Hazel Scott, who did wonderful Bach in cabarets. Cafe Society and Village Vanguard, things like that. And we all went to listen to her because she was marvelous. She was a wonderful pianist. And so there wasn't that reverence for Bach, although it was still sung in churches, and we went to oratorios and cantatas, but nevertheless, there wasn't that reverence that one has now, where you have to do it with authentic instruments, and you have everything is much more solemn than we knew it.
But that attitude to Bach, for instance, Hazel Scott, Balanchine, and yourself, you were aware of the way she played Bach. That probably infects the whole weight and style of the dance of Concerto Barocco, if he's got that attitude towards Bach's style. And I was interested in seeing, for instance, that there seems to be much more earthiness to the style as you're teaching it, as you're coaching it, Marie-Jeanne, more into the ground, and a more jazzy approach, indeed, a more weighty approach than the dancers today seem to be having within their bodies naturally. It's a different style.
I think it has become different, yes. Very much so.
I was especially interested in the loose knees that you were demonstrating. Because we think of everything so pulled up, but in a way, the way you showed, it wasn't the case.
A lot of bent knees.
Yeah, but that's very interesting.
Which was fascinating.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, when I first came back and I saw Tanny and Diana do it, I think it was totally different from what I remembered. Simply because
early 50s,
because it had all become straight-kneed, you know, and also there was no longer the rond de jambe. It became tendu. Really.
Yes, I saw. Yeah, big difference.
So it's quite a different step.
I'm interested in how much Balanchine either of you had actually seen in 1941. What was your knowledge of Balanchine? Balanchine works. I know you knew the man, but
1941.
I mean, when this was created, and Ballet Imperial also.
Serenade.
Well, we had seen the Ballet Russe. We'd seen Cotillon. Don't forget, we saw Concurrence. We saw Cotillon, and I had seen. I think it was '36, wasn't it, when he did Orpheus? The opera.
You saw that?
He did. I went to that, and then there was also.
He did a very jazzy jeu de cartes.
And 37.
Well, there was an all Stravinsky evening that he did.
You saw that also?
I saw that too,
I see,
and that was what was that? That was Apollo Baiser and jeu de cartes.
But they only had 2 performances, so you
Yes.
had to move fast to get there, and you saw it
Yes.
too, of course. Yes,
Saw
because you
rehearsals.
talked about it.
Yeah. I had nothing to do with the school at that time, so, but I was taking the performance, fortunately.
I see.
I'm interested in the kind of class that the dancers were doing around the time when Concerto Barocco was
That I
made.
cannot tell you because he never taught class.
No, it was Vladimirov, really,
Yeah.
who taught. He taught rarely.
Yeah.
He really rarely taught.
Occasionally, he'd give a company class,
Yeah.
very rarely.
Rarely.
And did that stand out in your memory at all, that company class that he taught? what
Not
it was
really.
like?
He would want to work on one particular step, maybe for
yes,
1 hour.
We
That was
did.
the same as later.
Later.
Yes,
We would do
it was,
variations
yes.
on that one step. And he
Yeah.
liked playing with tempi, not tempi, with counts.
Yeah.
So suddenly you would do a step with 5 counts at the bar.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So how did this hit you, this choreography? Now, you've described both Barocco and Imperial in different ways, but both as exceedingly hard, and we know them to be very difficult roles.
I found only Barocco difficult because of the, 17 or 18 minutes of non-stopping practically, and the speed.
Yes.
It used to give me terrible leg cramps.
I remember her lying on the table screaming.
John has written about it, yes.
Terrible.
But it's not truly, again, classical classroom technique.
No.
No. Not at all, no. I
Did you
think there's a
find it difficult?
glissade or two.
Did you find it, well, and an arabesque or two?
Yeah.
Did you find it difficult to adapt?
No, no.
Because you must have been a fabulous mimic.
Well, whatever he said, you did.
Whatever he
You didn't
shows you,
question
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It never entered my mind to say this was too difficult, I couldn't do this. You just did it.
When, on the odd occasion when he did teach class, he was interested in exploring counts. Now, this is an early piece to have cross counts in the choreography, isn't it? There's some very, very nice moments where the music is in one count system and the steps are different. There is a 5-count phrase, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
In the first movement.
There's that 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, right.
That's there. But and also later on in the 3rd movement there.
Where he changes when you jump?
Yes, on
One,
the
two,
jumps
three,
they do.
four,
It starts
one,
with
two,
4,
one,
and
two,
then
three.
part of the girls do it in 3.
Yeah.
That's right.
He plays with that. But it was simply because for him, probably doing it all in 4 was boring. And so he broke it up, and it still worked.
And that is a part that certainly hasn't changed, that 4
No.
and
No.
3 in
No,
the
no, no.
last movement. That's in
That
the 1943 film,
that
quite
one
clearly.
remembers
It's
very
still
well.
very exciting musically.
Yes.
Yeah.